If you look through history, many people have described life on Earth in many ways. Plato called it a cave. Shakespeare stated it was a stage. And I offer to you that it is a game that we play using our souls as credits. Now, for those who are not familiar with Plato's metaphor, it goes like this. He posits that deep underground there is a cave, and within it people are stuck in these contraptions that force them to look a certain way at a wall. Now behind them there is a massive fire raging continuously. And in front of this, people pass carrying various shapes that project shadows. Can you imagine how it would feel to live in that scenario? Obviously nobody is born in that cave. They are brought there. So at one point they would have been in the real world with the sun overhead before meeting this imitation. This contraption that they're sitting in is John of House Smith. It is the concept of the false self that you have inside your head. It's not something you were born with, it's something you inherited and was built primarily by external influences. I mean, have you ever considered who you truly are? It's like I asked in the previous video, how can you be the voice in your head when you are obviously that which listens? Now, if you have pondered this by yourself, then congratulations. You are well on your way to awakening the warrior within and transcending this realm, because there are billions who have lived and died without ever stopping to think about something so obvious. If this is the first time it's came to you, that means that when it starts nattering away, you can realize, hang on a second, I'm not this. And just listen. See, it feeds on your energetics. You are the prime. You are the aspect that projects. Now, in Plato's story, he posited that a dude escaped the cave, and when he got outside, he felt the sun on his face, and suddenly he was awash in recollection. Philip K. Dick called this state anamnesis, which is remembering what you didn't know you'd forgotten. And his works are of immense interest because you have to think, here was a guy hammering away at a typewriter who predicted so many things that were coming next, including the world we are about to build. Now, Shakespeare expanded upon this with his stage metaphor, and he was saying that people come and people go, and they're unaware that they're playing their part. And that, my friend, is 100% true. Now, taking it to the next level with a view of the game, we are in a generation that knows what it's like to interact with false worlds. So the irony is, we are creating fakes within a fake. But what's wilder still is we're about to create pseudo-humans that soon you will legally be banned from saying are not the same as the real thing. So now is a pretty good time to discuss this. Getting back to Plato, he said that if somebody escaped, found out what was going on, and came back, the people who were stuck inside these contraptions, they would fight him tooth and nail to maintain their state, because they want to tune into their regularly scheduled programming and see what happens next with the shadow. Now, I'm sure you can see how he preempted television series with that whole binge watch effect with this. From my perspective, the people who are stuck in those contraptions make up 81% of the world. They genuinely don't care. See, misery and company is something which is what it is, and we are beings of resonance, so you tend to become what you're around unless you transmute those energies. Now, in this scenario, the 11% are the ones who are walking backwards and forwards in front of the flame. The reason why they do this is so they have free reign over the real world that runs outside. The guy who escaped is one of the 8%. He would be the one that fidgets at school, never sits still, is constantly in trouble, obviously intelligent but refuses to apply it. He may be an underachiever, he could be wildly successful, but either way he looks at things from a different lens because he suspects that something is off with this sketch. Now, using the metaphor of the sun and the flame, the sun you could class as your innocence, and the flame is adulteration. The reason why people cling to this false illumination is because they are petrified. Deep down within, they know what happened, and they fear that if they let it go a second time, you'll end up with an energy-saving light bulb instead, and that would be even worse. The contraption that people sit in is what Wilhelm Reich discovered and was brutally punished for it. He said that humanity is infected by an emotional plague, and ancient societies called this witiko and krivida. So it's not like I'm just pulling concepts out of the air. Reich posited that people have character armor, and if you read the Vedic texts, they state exactly the same thing, but they call it karma. Now these are things that you inherited from past lives, your lineage, ancestors, parents, all of these types of things. And they're what manifests as the aches and pains that randomly come and go. I mean, haven't you ever stopped to notice how weird it is? Let's say if you hurt a body part, it would bruise, and then the healing process would kick in. But one day you can wake up with a back twinge, next day it can be your neck, and these movements just come and go randomly. They are emotional suppressions, and there's a very easy way to test this. Simply stand still for 9 minutes. See what happens. Every single thing that you have hidden will come screaming to the surface with the attention of your mind, and your body will start relaying all of the pain that you pretend doesn't exist. Now, here's the most amazing thing. I left the cave, and then I came back in to share this message with you, my friend. In life, as you go about, it's worth paying attention to your bodily sensations, cognitive reactions, and emotions, because often they are much stronger than what's actually happening outside, and that hints that something is coming from within. Now, if you remember that scene from The Matrix when Neo wakes up in the pod and he has all of these things linked into his body, that's pretty accurate to what I've seen in higher realms. These are why old people are always stooped over. I mean, have you ever considered how a baby comes into this realm bouncing and glowing, and then by the age of 6 that dims, and then by the time they're like 60, they're all like stooped over? What exactly happens? You erroneously believe that's aging, but there are tribes that live up in the mountains and they get to be 90 and are remarkably fit and spry. That shows you that there's something off in this sketch. But there is something very interesting about this cave. See, each religion and culture, society, has its own cave, own frame, its own flames, and its own story. This is why if you look at Christianity, Judaism, and Islam, all three of them feature a black cube, but the flickering shadows tell totally different stories. This is why signs and symbols rule the world, not laws and rules. The simple fact of the matter is, my friend, that you are pure consciousness, wearing flesh. Realizing this, whilst living, generates the seeds of enlightenment, which you can nurture or ignore. These days, these aspects have been completely stripped from society, hence people are in an extended state of adolescence. And if we're being honest, if you look at the net, people are actually in infantile regress these days. Now, I strongly suspect what the internet is doing is it's terraforming the collective subconscious in order to create a collective mind. And into this collective mind, they will wire these synths. And then you'll have Techno Sapiens when humans start getting augmented. I mean, have you ever considered how the apple was pre-bit and how that links in with the biblical myth? And then have you ever wondered why when you're calling for Siri, the word backwards is iris? So they've told you people are going to get chipped. This is why, for example, if you look at the UK at the minute, they're going overboard with their whole online laws thing of what people can and cannot say on the internet. I told you this in an article I posted way back called The Day the Internet Died, where I posited there would be a terrorist attack that brings the old Wild West form dead, and they bring it back again. But this time you need a driving license. The thing is, you won't be paying for it anymore because it'll be broadcast free all around the world, and there'll be some new upgrades in there. But that's the reason why all this kicks. I call it the rise of digital communism, and you're free to read that article. Take a peek and see what you think. Another good way of looking at this cave metaphor, where they substitute fake for real, is how money used to be based on gold. So if you look at a tenner in your pocket now, it says, "I promise to pay the bearer on demand the sum of." In the olden days, you could take that promissory note and get yourself £10 worth of gold. Now you just get another piece of paper. Sunlight, fire, shadows. If enough people believe a lie, does that make it true, or does that just make it an elegant deception? This is the problem. This is why you should never bite the hand that frees you, because it will genuinely seem traumatic when it comes. At least it did for me. And that's only because of what you've been forced to accept by refusing to imagine any other options. As any ritual magician will tell you, it all comes down to imagination. It's the most powerful force you possess in this realm. Every single thing you've ever seen, been, or will be came from it. It's like I told you in the other video, how your brain has two speeds of processing. One of them handles billions of bits per second. This is the good thief that was crucified next to Jesus. The other part can handle 8 at max before it overloads, and that's the bad thief. That's where the false self talks in your head. You, my friend, are the Christ consciousness that sits in the mid. If you choose to illuminate your pineal gland, then you'll see things the way I do. Read the free ebook that I've published, The God Who Wasn't There, and that'll give you a clue into what's actually happening beneath your neck, because you're an absentee landlord in that respect, because the signals that come in, the false self says, oh, don't want to deal with them, and they become aches and pains. Embrace the pain, and you will win this game. That I assure you. I mean, now that you know this, aren't you even a little bit intrigued about awakening the warrior within? Read the article, The Start of a Spiritual Awakening, and try it. See what kicks. Till we meet again.